Well, got to the range today. Spent about 4, maybe 5. Got there at 10:30. What time is it now? It is 3:30. Yeah, and I just got home. It takes about 15 minutes to get home, so whatever that adds up to, that's where it's been. So, I put about 400 rounds through the SIG that you see in front of you, the 5.56. However, I was having a few little issues with it. For some reason, I couldn't get the scope to stable. Now, when I put this away, I haven't used this in about 8 months, maybe a little bit longer, to be honest with you. And when I put it away, I had the scope and everything spot on. It was one of these things to where I was able to pick, what do you call it, the caps. A cap off a water bottle at about 75 yards without a problem. Clay pigeons at 100 yards without a problem. Now, I don't look to put bullets inside of holes, inside of holes, inside of holes. If I can hit this, regardless of how where, I'm happy with that. That's all I'm looking for. If I can do a 4 or 5 inch group, size of the palm of my hand, at just about any range or distance that I'm going to be shooting at, and at this point up to about 200 yards at the range at one of the clubs, I'm happy. You know, pistols, 50 yards, whatever. So, but regardless, this thing was spot on. Well, I was having problems with it. I put a piece of paper up that was, oh Jesus, a full-size silhouette target, let's put it that way. And I hung it up backwards, so I just have a white piece of paper. I took a piece of, masking tape, and I put an X on the paper. So I've got a paper that's about 2 feet by, 3 feet, with a 1 foot X in it. And I put it out about 70 yards or so, and I started popping a few rounds. Well, guess what? It was all over the place. It was nowheres near where it should have been. And it was unstable. It just was not holding. And I mean, it was like, wow. Turn this around so I can work it this way. There. So I tried different ammo. That helped. I was running some real cheap American Eagle stuff. Those little buckets of 120 rounds for, I don't know, 40 bucks or whatever it was. So naturally that wasn't the best ammo in the world, but still, it was, God, I'm telling you, I was embarrassed. And no matter how much I turned the turrets, it wouldn't change. Now that was bothering me. I mean, this is a $1,600 scope. Alright, and it was on the money when I put it away. And I don't bang it around. It's always taken care of. There's no reason for this thing to have been off that much. So I got to try to figure out the problem here, because that was just shouldn't have been. Should not have been. That's all there is to it. Aha! Ha 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 ha! I I just figured it out. What an ass. What an ass. Don't tell me. Wait a minute here, let me see, hold on. Ha 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 ha. Son of a dingle. When I cleaned this gun, it was on the money. Remember I told you? It was on the money. Now this just goes to show you sometimes when you take things for granted. I had my grandson with me because he had never fired a gun before. So this was the day. Actually, I think I have a video up with him at the range. Well, part of this him was not just going to the range and having fun shooting. He had to come back and help me clean. All right, you know, if you're gonna play, you gotta pay, and that's what it was. So I always take the scope off the rifle when I'm cleaning it. You know, when I'm cleaning the rifle, and I put it aside. When we were done, he put this one together, and I was putting my wife's AR, her Stag, together. She's got the Stag 2T, and I was cleaning that one. So when he was done, he was putting this one together. So I wasn't paying attention. He put it together. It worked. I mean, I had no problems. You know, I checked this, and everything was fine. He also put the scope back on. Now, I told him when he puts it on to make sure he knows where he's putting it on the Picatinny rail when he took it off, so he knows to put it back on again. Okay? So he was paying attention, naturally, to the placement. However, he nor I, just using it today, did not pay attention. I could not get this rifle on the target. I was getting it on the paper, but I just could not land it on the target. I mean, it was just wasn't. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get it on the spot, and it was all over the place. Well, I just took it off. All right. As I'm taking it off, I'm looking at it, and I'm saying that doesn't look right. Now, I don't know if you guys can see it here or not. Let me turn this a little bit so you can see it. Okay. Now, I just took this off. And I'm looking at it to try to find out, okay, what was the problem? Why couldn't I get this thing adjusted? Well, look at it. I just noticed this. I was so busy trying to get it zeroed in that I wasn't paying attention. You think? I think that would have made a big difference if the scope was on right. Hello? This drove me nuts. I went through a few hundred rounds. Total, I went through about 400 and change or so. I went through like 3 boxes of those 120s, and then I went through about another 4 or 5 boxes of 20s, 20, you know. The 120s, about 3 boxes of those, and about another 4 or 5 boxes of 20. Oh, and 1 box of 30. Huh. I was just getting ready to break this whole thing down to see if we had a problem. Then I was going to start to try to zero the scope out, you know, and neutralize to see what the hell's wrong. I'm thinking, what could be wrong with this what could be wrong with this thing? You know, I mean, I take care of this. You know, I don't bang it around. Military use this one. Well, that's what it was. I don't believe it. Well, I do believe it because it happened. Right? That's what you get for not paying attention. My grandson, like I said, he cleaned this when I cleaned my wife's, and I cleaned my AK. And he was working on this one. This one here is a little bit easier to clean because it's piston. It's gas, you know, piston. So it was a little bit easier. So, but he had put this on like that. Went in, return, it belongs like that. And that's why I was having all the problems. I don't believe it. So I'm going to have to go back now, and I won't go today, but I'll go this week, next week, and get this now back in, because I've already readjusted these turns to where, you know, it's not going to be on the money. So, isn't that something? All right, well, anyway, let me spray this down, break it down, and get it cleaned.